Let's get into it. Hello, everybody. Rachel Smith here, local RE/MAX realtor, and oh my goodness gracious, I have another top dog agent on with me today, Darren Ahern from RE/MAX. Not the same one, but still a good RE/MAX.
We're still flying the same balloon.
I am so excited to have him on. Wanted to pick your brain. You have been doing real estate for how long?
20 years now.
20 years, so I've known you a few. We've had some good times. And I said, you know what? This gentleman is just a wealth of knowledge. He can give us some insight as to what's happening in this crazy market that we are entering into. And do we see a sight at end?
Yes.
What do you think?
I think we're having fun.
That's what we'll call it.
It's getting wild.
We'll call it fun. Well,
Welcome
it's fun
to
for
the
us.
Fun side of the island.
Survival of the fittest. So with that said,
We're not naked and afraid.
well, you're not. With that said, all right, so give me your craziest story in real estate.
All right, my craziest story in real estate would be, we show everything that is craziest in real estate typically happens at settlement.
Okay.
Okay, so what happens at settlement should stay at settlement, I believe.
Uh-huh.
All right, usually it's a lot of fun.
Usually.
In this situation, I had an estate sale. Long story short, we come in, I represent the seller, all kinds of people involved, kids, everybody. Next thing I know, the buyer's there, we're getting through everything, and then it comes time for everybody to receive the disbursement and the funds from the sale of the home.
Okay.
So all of a sudden, out of nowhere comes another sibling into the settlement office and goes to the settlement attorney and demands their fair share.
Was that documented?
It was kind of part of it. We're not part of that kind of thing. So all of a sudden they come in and they want their monies. And next thing I know, a fight breaks out. It turns into Jerry Springer.
Like a physical fight?
Yes, across
Somebody
the table.
got knocked out?
Not quite knocked out.
Did you get hit?
I did not get hit.
Okay.
It goes wild. There's a fight. The lawyer has to grab and take people to another room.
Do I know the attorney? Was it one of our closing agents?
I'm trying to think who it was.
Probably.
No.
They're still with us though, right?
Yes.
Okay, they're still doing real estate, so there you go.
Tears. We just want the keys to the house. This shouldn't be happening right now.
Buyers.
It's crazy. So that was
did
the
it
craziest
close?
thing. Yes, we got it completed.
Did all the siblings get their money?
I'm
Or
not
you don't
sure.
know. You were like, we're getting this done,
Yep.
and we're out of here.
Exactly.
I think that's the way you got to do it sometimes. It's
So
just
how
lock and
excited
load
so
it.
far?
That's interesting. All right, so you've
That
been
was the
doing
craziest.
real estate for 20 years.
Yes.
Right? You are top producer. You've done all kinds of transactions throughout the Frederick area, Washington County area, Montgomery County area. Where's your sole focus?
Pennsylvania.
I'm Pennsylvania, because you're my Pennsylvania buddy. 'Cause
Yeah.
you go to PA. That's right. All right, so your main focus is where? Frederick area?
Frederick area.
Okay, all right. And so buyers and sellers, that's what you typically work with, right?
Yep.
So give our viewers some tips. A seller, a buyer, give them an idea about how to handle this current market.
All right. Well, we're in a crazy market, as you know. So tips and tricks we always like to come out with and things. Life on the streets, I like to call it.
Yeah.
All right, so life on the streets, it gets pretty crazy out there. Obviously, as you know, Rach, we have seen the market in the last 10 months just completely do almost what feels like a 180, right? So we came from the days of multiple offers and under appraisals and throwing out home inspections.
Yep.
Anything it took to make sure that we had a buyer that won the prized
The deal.
possession of their deal being accepted, right? I mean, we were losing sleep over this. We were at 2 o'clock in the morning texting our other
Okay,
agents.
I kid you not. I was driving around so much, I had to have a pillow to sit on because I was driving so much. I had to sit on a pillow, just trying to drive and get my poor buyers into a house. That has changed. And it was like that just this past spring market.
Yep.
Now as we're entering the 2023 spring market, like you said, it's like a 180. So buyers now are
Yeah.
right? That said, all right, so give me your craziest story in real estate.
All right, my craziest story in real estate would be, we show everything that is craziest in real estate typically happens at settlement.
Okay.
Okay, so what happens at settlement should stay at settlement, I believe.
Uh-huh.
All right, usually it's a lot of fun.
Usually.
In this situation, I had an estate sale. Long story short, we come in, I represent the seller, all kinds of people involved, kids, everybody. Next thing I know, the buyer's there, we're getting through everything, and then it comes time for everybody to receive the disbursement and the funds from the sale of the home.
Okay.
So all of a sudden, out of nowhere comes another sibling into the settlement office and goes to the settlement attorney and demands their fair share. Next thing
Was
I
that
know,
documented?
It was kind of part of it. We're not part of that kind of thing. So all of a sudden they come in and they want their monies. And next thing I know, a fight breaks out. It turns into Jerry Springer.
Like a physical fight?
Yes, across
Somebody
the
got
table.
knocked out?
Not quite knocked out.
Did you get hit?
I did not get hit.
Okay.
It goes wild. There's a fight. The lawyer has to grab and take people to another room.
Do I know the attorney? Was it one of our closing agents?
I was trying to think who it was. Can't remember who-
Probably.
No.
They're still with us though, right?
Yes.
Okay, they're still doing real
The
estate,
buyers
so there
are
you
in
go.
tears. We just want the keys to the house. This shouldn't be happening right now.
Buyers.
It's crazy. So that was
did
the
it
craziest
close?
thing. Yes, we got it completed.
Did all the siblings get their money?
I'm
Or
not
you don't
sure.
know. You were like, we're getting this done
Yep.
and we're out of here.
Exactly.
I think that's the way you got to do it sometimes. It's
So
just
how
lock
it's
and
done,
load
it's
it.
our fault.
That's interesting. All right, so you've been
was
doing
craziest.
real estate for 20 years.
Yes.
Right? You are top producer. You've done all kinds of transactions throughout the Frederick area, Washington County area, Montgomery County area. Where's your sole focus?
Pennsylvania.
I'm Pennsylvania, because you're my Pennsylvania buddy. You
Yeah.
go to PA. That's right. All right, so your main focus is where? Frederick area?
Frederick area.
Okay, all right. And so buyers and sellers, that's what you typically work with, right?
Yep.
So give our viewers some tips. A seller, a buyer, give them an idea about how to handle this current market.
All right. Well, we're in a crazy market, as you know. So tips and tricks we always like to come out with and things. Life on the streets, I like to call it.
Yeah.
All right. So life on the streets, it gets pretty crazy out there. Obviously, as you know, Rach, we have seen the market in the last 10 months just completely do almost what feels like a 180, right? So we came from the days of multiple offers and under appraisals and throwing out home inspections.
Yep.
Anything it took to make sure that we had a buyer that won the prized
The deal.
possession of their deal being accepted, right? I mean, we were losing sleep over this. We were at 2 o'clock in the morning texting our other
Okay,
agents.
I kid you not. I was driving around so much, I had to have a pillow to sit on because I was driving so much. I had to sit on a pillow, just trying to drive and get my poor buyers into a house. That has changed.
Yeah.
And it was like that just this past spring market.
Yep.
Now as we're entering the 2023 spring market, like you said, it's like a 180. So buyers now they're seeing inspections and we're seeing contingencies, right? Are you writing under ask with your buyers? Are you asking for closing cost help?
That's a great question. So that really comes down to what are we dealing with? So with buyers, the tips that we want to give them is this. The number one thing buyers really want right now is they want the lowest interest rate. And so as we know, rates, they start to be right now 6%, 6.25%. They're still a little bit upset they couldn't get in all the fund when it was down at 3%. So one of the things is crazy. So one of the things we see right now that buyers, the tip I give them that's really important is with closing cost help, we are seeing that in most cases, as long as there's not multiple situations that are involved in that fight again about getting the home. So in that event, what we're doing is the 2-1 or 3-1 buy down.
Okay.
So what that works, the way that works is we have to have a seller. They have to be the one as a seller to contribute those funds for our buyers. So the way it works is for the first 2 years of the loan, it's 2 points less on their interest rate, which is really appealing because instead of it being around 6, it's down at like 4 or 4.25. It stays there for the first year. The second year comes up 1 more point to maybe 5 or 5.25, and then it comes back up to market rate. What that does is it saves our buyers a ton of money and interest and everything, and the seller is paying for it. So if we're able to get that for our buyers, that is huge.
Which I'm seeing, the offers that I've wrote recently within the past week, all the ones that I've written have been under list, full contingencies, and we gamed with asking for seller subsidy, but the fact that I was advising them that that's potential shows, hey, the market has shifted. Now, For our sellers that are now deciding to list, what would you say to the sellers?
Wow, great question.
Hire a professional.
Yes. Number one, yes.
Now more than ever.
This is definitely no more you put a stick in the yard, put it out there for sale.
Nay, nay, I say.
Boom, and everybody shows up and you get 2,500 showings and 3,000 offers, right? And you have to call the police to direct traffic. Those days are gone. The biggest thing right now for our sellers
No, I love it. I love this market.
is we're getting back to a more normal market.
Fun.
Yeah,
And
it
I
is.
love to negotiate. I know you love to negotiate.
Oh yeah, we come in strong with it. We have fun, and so it's the negotiating time. No hard feelings here, guys. It's just business.
It's
right?
business.
There's no business like show business. So what I tell our sellers is this, strategy-wise, okay? The sellers that don't have a really clean, good, strong strategy are the ones who get what we call behind the eight ball. And those are the ones that they're overpricing their homes for where the market is, things like that. The number one strategy is to get a multiple offer, even in this market, no matter what it takes. The reason why this is so important is because the minute there's a multiple offer situation and you're the seller, all of the buyers who are now going to ask for closing cost help, home inspections, they're gonna ask for your dog, your cat, pizza for a year, everything under the sun, that's gone. That stuff goes out the window immediately in a multiple offer situation, which puts you as the seller in the most control and driving the train, if you will, because now you get to pick the terms and conditions.
Yep.
The settlement date. Sometimes the price, it will go up even in this
back.
market. Rent
Free
backs.
rent back.
Free rent back was wonderful. We want to get that back. So those are some of the benefits. The biggest thing is really being able to dictate the terms and conditions.
Yep.
And that's
Because
huge.
that is huge. And I think a lot of people, sellers, don't realize it's not just about the numbers. And when
Exactly.
you overreach based on past data that's no longer accurate, because in my world, my thoughts and views, the market shifts every week. It used to be every month, now it's every week.
Absolutely.
Heck, who knows what tomorrow's gonna bring.
Exactly.
So paying attention to your professional and saying, hey, you know what, that data was not in real time as to what's happening in the streets right now in the market. So let's price it accordingly to what buyers are showing us and dictating how they're shopping. Now, let's not try and act like it's July in 2022 or June or
Exactly.
March or April or any of those months last year. It's a whole different ball game, right? So the second that those rates shifted, the market shifted.
Right.
And so now all parties, including sellers, have to learn how to accommodate unless you don't want to sell your house.
A lot of it's really been about affordability, and that's been really the biggest issue. Buyer demand is still there. It's still very high, Rach.
And they're very picky.
Yep, and that's the other big thing.
But that's
And
okay.
So the second big thing, this leads me into the big tip and trick for our sellers, is not only pricing it right and having the right strategy to get a multiple offer situation, but you absolutely got to deal with your condition. You want to make sure that your wall, new paint, fresh paint, flooring, cleanup, staging, all these factors. 10 months ago,
Who cared?
Dirty
Dirty dishes, just like me right now in the sink, they're hiding. I mean, you could have, and I think
You could
we've
have,
shown
yeah.
some houses my clients weren't even seeing and they were putting offers in. So
Right.
now it's the polar opposite. You really have to have your A game when you're marketing. You gotta just knock it out of the park.
So once you get your condition right, you pulled out enough lipstick to get on that pig.
Or Botox.
Then, yep, that too. And then the next big thing I found, Rachel, is the smartest sellers on the block right now are the ones that are doing a pre-home inspection. You're paying about $400, $500 to bring a home inspector in, and they're gonna do everything as norm with an inspection, and that way we can get ahead of the game and fix anything that would be a potential threat for a buyer to walk away, because in the last months, guess what's been the number one reason why buyers have been walking away from all these dang contracts? Home inspection reports.
Ta-da!
Yep, and so there
Yep.
it goes.
Yep,
So
yep,
we
yep.
want to get ahead of the curve and make sure that you do not become a casualty to a buyer walking away from cold feet.
That's a great way to put it, a casualty.
Yes, it is. Because your first offer, 9 out of 10 times as a seller, is what?
The best one.
The best one. This is just how it works.
How it works. So crossing T's, dotting I's, doing things that are going to put you ahead of the game and alleviate contingencies in general that could happen if a buyer comes through and says, hey, you know what? You've already done your inspection. That's probably the same inspector I was gonna hire. Let me go ahead and call him anyways.
Yes.
Run through this report,
Good
and we're gonna go ahead and execute our offer after I have a conversation with that inspector, and we're gonna be non-contingent. We all know that the past market was a little bit intense. There has been a shift. We're seeing it, we're feeling it in real time. The data that consumers are gonna see takes a little bit longer. You guys are probably still seeing stuff from summertime, fall time. We're seeing it in real time.
Yes.
So what are your predictions moving forward, especially as we approach Spring Market 2023? What do you think is going to happen for Spring Market and moving forward for the year?
Wow. Well, Rach, as I tell everybody,
Hold on.
I don't eat
Crystal ball?
crystal ball.
Yeah.
No one has a crystal ball. We really don't know what the future is going to behold because there are so many moving parts, Rachel, that deal with real estate, you know, all the economics and Russia, and all these other things out there. So here's the thing that we do know, okay? Current snapshot in time, okay? We still have a low inventory. You know what that means?
Well, supply, demand. There's no supply, but there's still demand. So when there's no inventory, we have nothing to sell to sellers.
Time to get your home out on the market.
There you go. So do we think that sellers are going to poke their head out a little bit more? What do we think? What do you think?
Well, I believe this next year, 2023, for the most part, we're going to see historically low levels of inventory. A couple of reasons why. Number one, we are 2.4 million homes short in the United States of homes that catch up with population. So what's happened is a lot of the sellers, Rachel, are saying, wait a minute, two problems. Number one, if I sell my home, where am I going to go? The sellers that I'm dealing with are dealing with, they already have another house to go to. They're moving out of state to a job that's already in place. They're moving in with other family members, multi-generational.
Yep.
Or it's a bad, tough situation, health reasons, divorce, you name it. So that's the first big thing that we're seeing. Not a lot of moves ups or downs so much in the area, unless they have to do that. So the second big reason is these sellers today, most of them have an interest rate of probably what?
Oh, 2.875, 3.0, 3.5.
So, who wants to give up the 3% beautiful, wonderful, historically low, we've never seen before, interest rate to jump into now 6.25%?
The offset to that is if you have enough equity in your property, that rate is moot. So if you're walking away with hundreds of thousands of dollars, you're gonna take a sliver of that and buy down the rate on your next purchase. And not only are you gonna do that, but you're gonna be able to negotiate, since the market has shifted, to get that price down. And then, hey, while we're at it, let's go ahead and ask that seller to pay for those points as well.
Boom. Perfect solution to all of it.
I mean, there you go. It's a game, right? It's a game. It's a strategic game of chess.
It is.
Where, okay, we move a piece here, and then we gotta move a piece here. Or I like to consider it also Tetris, where you have to kind of maneuver as to what's best for your specific client. And I like to think I'm good at it, and so are you. Hence the reason why I wanted to share your wealth of knowledge with all of our viewers. So yeah, anything else you want to share with them?
So that's the big thing. So we see, so that's the thing with the market. The number one thing people want to know is, Darren, are we going to see a major real estate crash? Is this going to play out like 2008? What do you think? I say no, it's not going to happen.
Supply, demand. The
Supply,
demand
demand.
is there. We are outside of the nation's capital,
Yep.
one of the biggest centers in the world. We have an influx of people coming in. They're not building them fast enough. I mean, the
Right.
builders are hurting a bit right now, I will tell you, but that's because they bought their material super high, and here we're dealing with the rates and all that. But once that levels out, I'm telling you, the demand is still gonna be there. Are our prices gonna have to be modified to a degree? Yeah, absolutely, right? Because our buyers that are out there, they want it done right. They're educated buyers, they're great buyers, they want what they want, and that's fine, that's okay. You as a seller and we as agents just have to be prepared how to cater to those needs.
Right. So as we move forward, I do believe we'll still see inventory pretty low. Days on markets come up a little bit. The
Yeah.
lowest we were at was about 7 days. Now we're
Yep.
hovering right around 40, 45
I was just getting ready to
days.
say, yep, we're in that 30 to 40 bracket, whereas prior to it was 7 or less, DOM.
So the
Which
other
is kind of
thing-
nice to
Yeah.
a degree,
It is good.
you know?
The other big thing, Rachel, that we're seeing are the different price points. So everybody wants to know about value, what's going to happen, and all that. Here's my golden prediction. We'll see if it rings true on December 31st as we bring in 2024.
Yep.
Seal it up. So anything priced under $300,000, we call the rent floor. It's like a rent payment. That's the most buyers. That's the highest demand there is. Those prices and those brackets, depending on the condition, I believe we will see a little bit of appreciation this year. It could be 2-4% or so in an average. That wouldn't be out of the question at all. Once we get into that $500,000 and $600,000, it becomes where is it, what is it? That market, I think, is going to go neutral and pretty flat this year. It has to catch up to itself, and of course, on the high-end range, anything 800,000 above, that's always the first to crack with values. And we could probably see, as a worst-case scenario, maybe up to 10% of the value correction in that regard.
So you were gonna say 10%. I was hoping you were gonna say
Well,
4, 5, 6, but realistically 10%. And in that bracket of value, I've already seen that. I've already seen it. I've already felt it. It is what it is. It's the market, so you just have to plan accordingly. And all markets shift and cycles and changes.
exactly. And a lot of that shift is simply because the train, Rachel, I looked at it like, last year we were going 10, 12, 14% appreciation, nearly 1% a month.
Yes.
What we've seen is the choo-choo train with the brakes, we were going 100 miles per hour, and right now we're going like 5 miles per hour. The market is still good. The difference is we can't go back with the data 9, 10 months ago and price the homes today
cannot,
at
and
the
that's
exact
key.
same because
That's key.
that rate is gone and we're now flatlined.
Yep.
And to get ahead of the curve is the most important step for a seller to take. So I would say, look, take the best 3 comparables, best 3 sales that match everything. Take the average of that and be about 3 to 5% less out of the gate so you can stay extremely competitive within the market and get that multiple offer.
And then
boom.
essentially, here's a great example. Just had a listing, listed it at 375, right under, ideally thinking in my head, okay, this is most likely gonna close, trade at the 385 mark, maybe 4 depending on surrounding competition, closing at 4 or 5.
But wait a minute.
Sellers listen to me.
But Rachel, you're giving the house away.
Oh, no, I'm not, because they're getting $30,000 over.
Feels like a year ago.
But it's all, and then listening to the professionals, guys, it's so hard when you're not eating, breathing, sleeping real estate to understand. But it's really key to make sure that you're relying on the professionals to make decisions together. Don't totally say, okay, you got this or whatever. This is an open line of communication to make sure that we're hitting all your goals the right way. But you gotta listen not only to the data, but the people that know how to interpret the data, and then also know how markets go in the future, right? And we have a crystal ball, but we have experience, and that's something that you can leverage, especially now in this market more than ever.
In life, it's not what you know, it's who you know. So those are some of the ideas that we have for you today.
Yep. All right, so Darren, thank you so much for coming on and just spewing all of your wisdom and knowledge. You know I'm gonna have to have you back on again, especially to make sure that those predictions you just made are accurate. So we'll have to see you in 6 months. And in the meantime, how can people reach you if they have more questions?
If you have a question, you can reach me at darrenahern.com website or 240-344-1713. And I also, Rachel, thank you so much as my awesome colleague, RE/MAX agent as well, to allow me to come in to share as well.
Of course.
And I'm going to have you on my radio
That's
program.
right.
She's gonna
So
come
you'll
on
have to
my
listen
radio.
for that.
Yes.
Or maybe we'll put a camera up so y'all can watch me sweat there too. How's that? I think that'll work.
And then she's going to be on live taking calls, fear in the headlights. Now we're really going to test you.
No, that's not happening. That's not
You'll
happening.
be fantastic. This girl right here, this young lady knows
Oh, geez.
exactly what's going on. At 21 years old.
Oh, love you. All right, guys, check us out on the next one, and we will see you then.
Thank you so much for tuning in. Take care and happy buying and selling.